I've been working at Cornerstone Books for 3 years, and I've mastered the art of becoming furniture. That's what you do when you're 26, drowning in debt, and can't afford to lose the only job that offers health insurance. You smile at customers who snap their fingers like you're a dog. You nod when they complain about prices you don't set. You fold yourself smaller and smaller until you're just hands shelving books and a voice saying, "Let me check the back for you." The bookstore sits in the heart of Chicago's Gold Coast, wedged between a boutique that sells $1,000 handbags and a restaurant where reservations require a 3-month waiting list. Our customers wear watches worth more than my annual salary. They browse hardcovers like they're selecting fruit at a farmer's market, squeezing and examining before deciding nothing's quite good enough. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where, in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. I don't mind the work itself. Books have always been my escape, my refuge from a world that never felt quite safe. Running my fingers along spines, recommending titles, watching someone's face light up when they find exactly what they needed, those moments make the rest bearable. The condescension, the invisible feeling, the way wealthy people look through you like you're made of glass. My manager, Patricia, is already at the register when I arrive for my Saturday morning shift. She's 50-something, with reading glasses perpetually perched on her head and the exhausted demeanor of someone who's worked retail for 30 years too long. "Mia, thank God." She doesn't look up from the inventory spreadsheet. "We've got that author event tonight. The thriller writer Donovan Beck. Apparently he's bringing associates and they want the store cleared of regular customers after 7. Cleared? I hang my jacket in the back. His room, pulling on the navy cardigan that serves as our uniform. We're closing early? Private event. His publisher's paying for it. Patricia finally glances at me, and I catch the worry in her eyes. Just be extra careful tonight, okay? These people, they're not our usual crowd. I want to ask what she means, but a customer appears at the register with a stack of cookbooks, and Patricia's already shifting into her customer service voice. I head to the floor, straightening displays and helping early browsers. The day passes in its usual rhythm. A woman looking for a book she saw on social media but can't remember the title or author, just that the cover was blue. A teenager needing Lord of the Flies for English class who's genuinely disappointed we're out of stock. An elderly man who comes in every Saturday to sit in the philosophy section and read Nietzsche for exactly 2 hours before leaving without buying anything. By 6:30, Patricia starts ushering out the remaining customers with apologetic explanations about the private event. I'm reshelving returns in the fiction section when I hear them arrive. Heavy footsteps. Multiple people. The subtle shift in air pressure that happens when a room suddenly contains too many bodies. I peer around the bookshelf and see them. 7 men in expensive suits, moving through the store like they own it. No, like they're assessing whether it's worth owning. They don't browse. They don't touch the books. They simply occupy space with the kind of casual dominance that comes from never being told no. And then he walks in. I know who he is before anyone says his name. Everyone in Chicago knows Dante Caruso, even if they pretend not to, especially if they pretend not to. He's been on the cover of Chicago magazine twice, once for his legitimate commercial real estate empire, once for the federal investigation that somehow evaporated without charges. He's 34, devastatingly handsome in that dangerous way that makes smart women stupid, and he runs the South Side with an iron fist wrapped in Italian leather. He wears a black suit that probably costs more than my car, his dark hair styled with just enough carelessness to look effortless. His presence fills the bookstore, making our carefully curated literary haven feel suddenly small and inadequate. Patricia appears at my elbow, her voice barely a whisper. That's Dante Caruso. The author, Donovan Beck, is his cousin. This whole event is basically a front for whatever meeting they're actually having upstairs in our event space. Should we be worried? I ask, watching as Dante's men position themselves at strategic points throughout the store. We should be invisible. Patricia squeezes my arm. Smile if they need something. Don't ask questions. Don't stare. And for God's sake, Mia, don't get in their way. The author arrives 20 minutes later. A thin man in his 40s with the nervous energy of someone who writes about violence but has probably never experienced it. He's sweating despite the October chill, clutching a leather messenger bag like it contains nuclear codes. More people arrive over the next hour. Men, mostly, with a few women in cocktail dresses that seem wildly inappropriate for a bookstore. They're not here for literature. They're here for whatever business gets conducted in rooms where cameras don't reach and questions aren't asked. I stay behind the register, processing the few legitimate book sales from early arrivals. Try to look busy. Try to be furniture. Then he appears at the counter. Not Dante Caruso. Someone else. Mid-40s, expensive suit that doesn't quite fit right, cologne that smells like it was applied with a paint roller. His eyes are slightly unfocused, and when he leans against the counter, I catch the scent of whiskey underneath the cologne. You work here? His words slur just slightly at the edges. Yes, sir. Can I help you find something? Yeah, you can help me. He smiles, and there's something predatory in it. You can tell me what a pretty thing like you is doing in a dusty bookstore instead of somewhere I could buy you a drink. My stomach tightens. I've handled men like this before, the ones who mistake retail friendliness for personal interest, who think your smile is an invitation, rather than a requirement of employment. I'm happy to help you find a book, I say, keeping my voice professional and pleasant. We have an excellent thriller section if you're interested in the author's work. I'm interested in you. He reaches across the counter, and his fingers brush my hand where it rests on the register. What time do you get off? I pull my hand back smoothly, pretending to reach for a bookmark display. Sir, I'm working. If you need assistance with a purchase, what's your name? He's not listening, or he's choosing not to. You got a boyfriend? You look like you could use someone to take care of you, buy you nice things. My face burns. 2 other customers are pretending not to notice, suddenly fascinated by the bookmarks they're examining. Patricia is upstairs with the event. I'm alone down here with this drunk, entitled man who thinks my discomfort is flirtation. I need to help other customers, I say firmly, moving toward the end of the counter. His hand shoots out and grabs my wrist, not hard enough to hurt but firm enough to stop me, firm enough to make it clear he's not asking. The shock of it freezes me for a heartbeat, the audacity of a stranger putting his hands on me in my workplace, in public, like he has every right. Don't walk away when I'm talking to you, he says, and his grip tightens. That's rude. Let go of me. My voice comes out smaller than I want, thready with fear I hate myself for feeling. We're just having a conversation. Let go. Louder now. Anger cutting through the fear. Don't touch me again. His expression shifts from predatory to offended, like I've insulted him by objecting to being grabbed. Jesus, what's your problem? I'm just being friendly. The lady asked you to let go. The voice comes from behind him, low and quiet and absolutely terrifying in its calmness. The drunk man's grip loosens instantly. He turns, and I watch the color drain from his face when he sees who's standing there. Dante Caruso stands 3 feet away, hands in his pockets, expression neutral. He doesn't look angry. He doesn't look anything. That's what makes it frightening, the complete absence of emotion, like he's observing something mildly interesting through bulletproof glass. Mr. Caruso, I was just. The drunk man releases my wrist, stepping back. You were leaving. Dante's voice doesn't rise. Doesn't need to. The door's behind you. Use it. I didn't mean anything. I don't care what you meant. Dante takes a single step forward, and the drunk man actually stumbles backward into a display of bookmarks. You put your hands on someone who didn't want to be touched. In my city, at an event I'm attending. That's 3 different kinds of stupid. The man's mouth opens and closes like a fish drowning in air. One of Dante's associates appears at his elbow, the tall one with the scar above his eyebrow I'd noticed earlier. Marco, Dante says without looking away from the drunk man. Help Mr. Richardson find his way out, and make sure he understands he's not welcome at any establishments I frequent. Ever. Understood. Marco's hand closes on Richardson's shoulder, and despite being roughly the same size, Richardson shrinks under the touch. Mr. Caruso, please, I didn't know. Now you do. Dante's expression still hasn't changed. Leave. They escort Richardson out through the front door. The remaining customers suddenly become very interested in making purchases and leaving. If you find this story engaging, please take a moment to subscribe and enable notifications. It helps us continue producing in-depth content like this. Within 2 minutes, the first floor is empty, except for me behind the register and Dante Caruso standing in front of it. The silence stretches between us like glass ready to shatter. Thank you. I manage finally. He was drunk, I think, and he wouldn't thank you. Dante studies me with dark eyes that miss nothing. You work here? 3 years. You're Mia. Not a question. A statement. My breath catches. How did you know my name? Your name tag. He gestures to the small pin on my cardigan that I'd forgotten I was wearing. But something in his tone suggests he already knew, that he's the kind of man who knows everything about everyone in spaces he occupies. Right. Yes. I'm Mia. I sound like an idiot. My wrist still burns where Richardson grabbed me, a phantom sensation that makes me want to scrub my skin raw. Are you all right? Dante asks, and there's something almost gentle in his voice now. Almost. I'm fine. I've dealt with worse. The words come out before I can stop them, and I immediately regret the admission. His expression shifts fractionally. You shouldn't have to deal with any of it. It's retail. I try to smile, to diffuse whatever intensity is building in the space between us. Comes with the territory. No. The single word lands with absolute finality. It doesn't. Before I can respond, Patricia's voice calls from upstairs. Mia, can you bring up more wine glasses from the storage room? The spell breaks. Dante steps back, his professional mask sliding back into place. Your manager needs you. Yes. Thank you again, Mr. Caruso. For Dante, he interrupts. And you don't need to thank me. That situation never should have happened in the first place. He turns and walks toward the stairs, leaving me alone behind the register with a racing heart and the strangest feeling that something fundamental just shifted in my carefully maintained invisible existence. I touch my wrist where Richardson grabbed me, and instead of fear or disgust, I feel something else entirely. Something warm and dangerous that I absolutely should not be feeling about a man like Dante Caruso. Patricia appears at the right, top of the stairs. Mia, the glasses. I shake myself out of whatever trance I've fallen into and hurry toward the storage room. But I can feel Dante's presence in the building above me, heavy and magnetic, pulling at something I didn't know could be pulled. This is dangerous, I think, carrying glasses upstairs. This is how good girls get destroyed by bad men. But when I reach the event space and see Dante standing with his associates, see the way his eyes track my movement across the room before he deliberately looks away like he's giving me privacy, like my comfort matters, I can't convince myself that dangerous is the same as wrong. The event runs until nearly midnight. I spend most of it refilling wine glasses, clearing plates of expensive catered food, and trying very hard not to notice how often I catch Dante watching me. Not obviously, not inappropriately, just these fleeting glances when he thinks I'm not paying attention, like he's making sure I'm okay, making sure no one else bothers me. It should feel creepy, powerful crime boss monitoring the bookstore clerk, but instead, it feels protective, safe in a way I haven't felt in years. The medical debt started 3 years ago, when my mother was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. We caught it late, too late, but that didn't stop the doctors from trying everything. Surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, experimental treatments that insurance decided were too experimental to cover. She died 6 months after diagnosis, and I inherited $43,000 in medical bills that might as well be $4 million for how impossible they feel to pay. I make $32,000 a year at the bookstore. After rent, utilities, food, and minimum payments on the debt, I have approximately $73 of discretionary income per month. I can't afford to lose this job, can't afford to make waves or draw attention or be anything other than the pleasant, efficient, forgettable employee who shows up on time and never complains. But tonight, standing in a room full of dangerous men in expensive suits, I felt seen for the first time in 3 years. And the person who saw me was the most dangerous man in Chicago. Earth to Mia. Patricia appears beside me with an empty wine bottle. You okay? You look shell-shocked. Just tired. Long night. Tell me about it. She sighs, glancing around at the remaining guests. Another hour, maybe. Then we can close up. You did great tonight, by the way. Very professional, especially after that incident with Richardson. Did you see what happened? Honey, everyone saw what happened. Patricia lowers her voice. And everyone saw what Dante Caruso did about it. That's going to cause talk. My stomach drops. What kind of talk? The kind where people wonder why Dante Caruso personally intervened when some drunk grabbed a bookstore clerk. She's not accusing, just stating facts. Men like him don't usually notice people like us unless there's a reason. There's no reason. He was just being decent. Patricia gives me a look that says she's worked retail long enough to know that powerful men are never just decent without motive. But she doesn't push it. just pats my shoulder and heads back toward the kitchen area. I'm loading the dishwasher when I hear footsteps behind me. Your manager said I could find you back here. I turn, and Dante Caruso fills the doorway of our tiny break room. Up close, without the buffer of counter or crowd, he's even more overwhelming. Tall, maybe 6'1", with broad shoulders that strain slightly against his jacket. His cologne is subtle cedar and something darker, more expensive. His dark eyes hold mine with an intensity that makes my breath catch. Mr. Caruso, did you need something? I wanted to apologize. He steps into the room, and suddenly the space feels impossibly small. Richardson was here as someone's guest. The fact that he felt comfortable acting that way in a venue connected to me reflects poorly on my judgment. You didn't do anything wrong. He did. I brought that element into your workspace, into a place where you should feel safe. His jaw tightens fractionally. That makes it my responsibility. I set down the wine glass I'd been holding before I drop it. You can't control other people's behavior. Actually, I can. The way he says it flat, factual, sends a shiver down my spine. And I do, regularly. Richardson won't be bothering you or anyone else again. I should probably be disturbed by the implication in that statement. Instead, I feel a rush of something that might be relief, or might be something darker, something grateful. Thank you, I say quietly. For earlier. For making him leave. I gesture vaguely, unable to articulate what I'm thanking him for. All of it. Dante takes another step closer. We're maybe 3 feet apart now, close enough that I can see the faint scar above his left eyebrow, the precise cut of his 5 o'clock shadow, the way his eyes aren't quite black but rather the deepest brown I've ever seen. Has this happened before? He asks. Men bothering you here? I want to lie. Want to say no. Tonight was an anomaly. Everything's normally fine. But something about the way he's looking at me, really looking, like my answer actually matters, makes the truth spill out. Sometimes. Not often, but sometimes. Retail, you know. You smile because it's your job, and some people think you're smiling for them specifically. I wrap my arms around myself. Usually, they take the hint when you're not interested. Richardson just didn't. And your manager? She handles these situations? She does her best. But she's not. I stop, unsure how to explain that Patricia is 56 and exhausted and has her own problems. We handle it. You shouldn't have to handle it. Dante's voice drops lower. You should be able to come to work, do your job, and go home without men putting their hands on you. That would be nice. I try to smile. But it's not realistic. It is now. The statement hangs in the air between us, weighted with implications I'm not sure I understand. What does that mean? I ask carefully. Dante seems to consider his words. It means this bookstore is under my protection now. Anyone who causes problems here will answer to me. That includes customers who don't understand boundaries. My heart hammers against my ribs. Mr. Caruso. Dante. Dante. His name feels dangerous in my mouth. I appreciate what you did tonight, but I don't need protection. I don't need to be anyone's responsibility. Too late. His lips curve into something that might be a smile on someone else, but on him looks like a promise. You became my responsibility the moment Richardson put his hands on you in a venue I was attending. That's how this works, Mia. Whether you want it or not. I should argue, should insist on my independence, my ability to handle my own problems. Should probably be offended by the presumption that I need a man, especially this man, to protect me. But the truth is, I'm 26 years old, $43,000 in debt, exhausted from 3 years of working doubles and eating ramen, and pretending I'm fine when I'm drowning. And for the first time since my mother died, someone is offering to make things easier instead of harder. Even if that someone is a mafia boss who probably does terrible things to maintain his power. I don't understand. I whisper. Why do you care? You don't know me. Dante studies me for a long moment. Then he reaches into his jacket and pulls out a business card, thick, expensive stock with minimal printing. Just a name, a phone number, nothing else. If anyone bothers you again, he says, pressing the card into my hand. You call that number immediately, day or night. It doesn't matter what's happening or who's involved. You call, and it gets handled. I can't just call you every time. Yes, you can. His fingers brush mine as he closes my hand around the card. That's exactly what you do. Understand? I nod because words seem impossible with him standing this close, with his hand still touching mine, with the strangest feeling that my entire life just tilted on its axis, and nothing will ever be quite the same. Good. He steps back, and I can breathe again. The event's wrapping up. You should go home, get some rest. It's been a long night. He turns to leave, and I hear myself say, Dante? He pauses in the doorway, looking back. Why did you help me? The question comes out smaller than I intended. Richardson wasn't important enough for you to care about. I'm definitely not important enough. So why? For a moment, I think he won't answer. Then his expression softens almost imperceptibly. Because no one should touch you without permission, he says quietly. And when they do, they should learn that has consequences. Then he's gone, leaving me alone in the break room with a business card burning a hole in my palm and the absolute certainty that I've just been claimed by someone who doesn't take no for an answer. I should be terrified. Instead, I feel safer than I have in years. Sunday morning, I wake up to 17 missed calls from a number I don't recognize and a text message that makes my blood run cold. This is Patricia. Don't come to work today. The store is closed for repairs. I'll explain later. My first thought is fire. My second is robbery. My third, irrational but persistent, is that somehow whatever happened last night with Dante Caruso has followed me home like a curse. I call Patricia back immediately. She answers on the first ring. Mia, thank God. Are you okay? I'm fine. What happened to the store? A pause. Too long. There was an incident early this morning. Someone broke in through the back entrance. Trashed the place pretty thoroughly. My stomach drops. Oh my God, Patricia, are you hurt? Was anyone? No one was there. It happened around 4 a.m., according to the alarm company. Her voice sounds strained. The police came, filed a report. But Mia, it's strange. They didn't take anything valuable. The register wasn't touched. They just destroyed things. Ripped books, overturned shelves, spray-painted the walls. I think about Richardson being escorted out last night. About the humiliation on his face. About the kind of man who gets drunk and grabs women without permission. Do they know who did it? I ask, already knowing the answer. No security footage. They cut the cameras first. Patricia exhales shakily. The police seem to think it's random vandalism, but I don't know. The timing feels too coincidental. Richardson. It has to be. Some petty revenge for being thrown out, for being embarrassed in front of Dante Caruso's people. I'm so sorry, I whisper. This is my fault. Don't be ridiculous. You didn't do anything wrong. But there's something in Patricia's tone that suggests she's made the same connection I have. Listen, the owner is arranging repairs. We'll be closed at least a week, maybe 2. I'll let you know when we're ready to reopen. What about my paycheck? I stop, hating how desperate I sound. You'll still get paid for your scheduled hours. Mister. Chen is good about that. She pauses. Mia, be careful, okay? If that man from last night had something to do with this. People like that don't let things go easily. After we hang up, I sit on my bed in the studio apartment I can barely afford, staring at Dante's business card on my nightstand where I'd placed it last night. If anyone bothers you again, you call that number immediately. But this isn't someone bothering me. This is property damage, police involvement, a whole different level of problem. I can't just call a Mafia boss because my workplace got vandalized. That's insane. My phone buzzes. Unknown number. Miss Bennett, this is Marco Rossi. We met briefly last night at Cornerstone Books. Mr. Caruso would like to see you this afternoon. A car will pick you up at 2 p.m. Please be ready. I stare at the message, my heart hammering. How does he have my number? How does he know where I live? And what does Dante Caruso want with me badly enough to send a car? I type and delete 3 different responses before settling on, I'm sorry, but I have plans today. The response is immediate. Cancel them. This is not optional. My hands shake as I set down my phone. Not optional, like I'm already part of whatever world Dante inhabits, where requests are really orders, and declining isn't a choice you get to make. I should be furious, should refuse on principle, should call the police and report that I'm being summoned by a known criminal. Instead, I get in the shower and start trying to figure out what you wear when a Mafia boss demands your presence. The car arrives at exactly 2 p.m. A black Mercedes with tinted windows, and a driver who introduces himself as Tony. He's maybe 60, with silver hair and the kind of face that's seen everything and been surprised by none of it. Miss Bennett. He opens the rear door with practiced courtesy. Mr. Caruso is expecting you. I climb in before I can talk myself out of it. The interior smells like leather and expensive cologne. There's a bottle of water waiting in the cup holder with a note. In case you're thirsty. D. The thoughtfulness of it catches me off guard. Mafia bosses aren't supposed to think about whether you're thirsty during your kidnapping. Though I suppose technically this isn't kidnapping if I got in the car voluntarily. Even if voluntary is a generous interpretation. We drive through Chicago's early October afternoon, leaves just starting to turn gold and rust along the boulevards. Tony navigates with the confidence of someone who's made this drive 1,000 times, never hesitating at intersections, never checking a GPS. Where are we going? I finally ask. Mr. Caruso's office. Tony's eyes meet mine in the rearview mirror. Nothing to worry about, miss. You're perfectly safe. The funny thing is, I believe him, which probably says something disturbing about my self-preservation instincts. We pull up to a building in River North Modern Glass and Steel, the kind of place that houses tech startups and consulting firms. The lobby is all marble and minimalist furniture, completely innocuous except for the 2 men in suits flanking the elevator bank, who track our movement with professional intensity. Tony escorts me to a private elevator that requires a key card. We ride to the top floor in silence. The doors open directly into an office that spans the entire floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook the Chicago River and the lake beyond. The space is decorated with the kind of restrained elegance that only truly wealthy people can afford. No clutter, no waste, every piece of furniture selected for purpose and aesthetic. Dante stands at the windows with his back to me, phone pressed to his ear. He's speaking Italian, his voice low and musical in a language I don't understand. He's dressed more casually than last night, dark jeans, a black sweater that fits him like a second skin, no jacket. Somehow, he's even more intimidating without the formal armor of a suit. He finishes his call and turns. Mia, thank you for coming. Did I have a choice? A slight smile. No. But I appreciate the courtesy of you not making it difficult. He gestures to a leather couch. Please, sit. Can I get you something? Coffee, tea, water? I'm fine. I perch on the edge of the couch, my posture screaming discomfort. Why am I here? Dante crosses to a bar cart and pours himself 2 fingers of amber liquid scotch, probably, or whiskey. He takes a sip, studying me over the rim of the glass. I heard about Cornerstone Books, he says finally. The break-in this morning. How did you already know? About that? I make it my business to know things that happen in my city, especially things that happen to people under my protection. He sits in the chair across from me, elbows on his knees. It was Richardson, or someone he hired. Amateur job, meant to send a message. What message? That he's angry. That he doesn't appreciate being thrown out of a bookstore by my people. Dante's expression darkens. That he's too stupid to understand the consequences of making this personal. I wrap my arms around myself. The police are investigating. They'll handle it. The police will file a report, interview some people, then close the case as random vandalism because they have no leads and limited resources. Dante sets down his glass. I, on the other hand, will actually handle it. How? You don't need to know the details. If you're going to do something because of me, I think I deserve to know what. My voice comes out stronger than I feel. Dante regards me for a long moment. Richardson will be encouraged to leave Chicago. Strongly encouraged. His business interests here will become complicated. Within a month, he'll decide that relocating to another city is in his best interest. The vandalism will stop. You'll be safe. You're going to destroy his life because he broke into a bookstore. I'm going to destroy his life because he put his hands on you without permission, then retaliated when there were consequences. Dante leans forward. Do you understand the difference? This isn't about property damage. This is about him thinking he could touch you, then punish you for objecting. That ends now. The intensity in his voice makes my breath catch. This isn't abstract protection or territorial posturing. This is personal for him in a way I don't understand. Why do you care so much? The question escapes before I can stop it. You don't know me. I'm nobody. Why are you doing this? You keep saying that you're nobody. Dante's jaw tightens. Stop. It's true. I work in a bookstore. I live in a 400 square foot studio. I eat ramen 3 nights a week because that's what I can afford. In your world, in my world, he interrupts, his voice dangerously quiet. You're someone who was grabbed by a drunk asshole and then had your workplace destroyed in retaliation. That makes you someone who needs protection. Someone who deserves it. I didn't ask for your protection. You shouldn't have to ask. He stands, crossing to the windows. Protection shouldn't be something you beg for or earn. It should be automatic, especially from men who have the power to provide it. I watch his reflection in the glass, trying to understand this man who speaks about protection like it's a moral imperative while running an organization built on violence. What do you want from me? I ask quietly. There has to be something. Men like you don't do things out of pure altruism. He turns, and there's something raw in his expression, something that looks almost like hurt. Men like me, he repeats. What do you think I am, Mia? Dangerous, powerful, someone who gets what he wants through intimidation and force. I meet his eyes. Am I wrong? No. The admission is surprisingly honest. But you're not complete either. I'm also someone who protects what's mine, who honors obligations, who remembers loyalty and rewards it accordingly. I'm not yours to protect. Aren't you? He crosses back to me, and suddenly he's too close, invading my space in a way that should feel threatening but instead feels magnetic. From the moment I grabbed Richardson's collar, from the moment I told him to leave that made you mine, under my protection. Part of my world whether you wanted to be or not. I don't want to be part of your world. Too bad. Not cruel. Just matter of fact. Because you're already in it. Richardson made sure of that when he decided to retaliate. Now you're visible. Now people know you matter to me. And that means I'm responsible for keeping you safe. My throat feels tight. What if I say no? What if I just want my normal life back? Then you'd be choosing vulnerability over protection, danger over safety. And I'd spend every day knowing I left you exposed to people like Richardson. His hand comes up, fingertips ghosting along my jaw without quite touching. I couldn't live with that. The almost touch sends electricity through my skin. I should pull away. Should tell him this is insane, that I don't need a criminal overlord making decisions about my safety. But the truth is, I've been vulnerable for 3 years. Since my mother died and the medical bills started drowning me. Since I started working doubles and skipping meals and lying awake at night doing impossible math with insufficient numbers. I've been exposed, unprotected, one disaster away from complete collapse, and now someone with actual power is offering to make that stop, even if that someone is dangerous in entirely different ways. What happens now? I whisper. Dante's hand drops. He steps back, giving me space to breathe. Now you let me handle Richardson. You go back to work when the store reopens. You live your life. That's it? That's it. He moves to his desk, pulling out a folder. Though there are some logistics we need to discuss. Logistics? He opens the folder and slides it across to me. Inside are financial documents, payment schedules, account numbers, terms that make my vision blur. What is this? Your medical debt. Dante's voice is matter of fact. $43,267 as of last month. I'm paying it off. The account will be clear by tomorrow. The room tilts. I can't let you. It's already done. The wire transfer processed an hour ago. He meets my shocked stare calmly. Consider it a gesture of good faith. Good faith? My voice rises. You can't just pay off someone's debt as a gesture. That's necessary. He closes the folder. You've been drowning in payments for years, working yourself to exhaustion for a debt you inherited through no fault of your own. That ends today. Tears burn behind my eyes. I hate that I'm crying, hate that he's witnessing this breakdown, but $43,000, 3 years of crushing weight just gone. Why? The word comes out broken. Why would you do this? Dante circles the desk, crouching in front of me so we're eye level. His hand comes up, thumb catching a tear on my cheek. Because I can, he says simply. Because you need it. Because the thought of you struggling under that burden, when I have the resources to eliminate it, is unacceptable to me. I don't understand you. I'm crying in earnest now, and his hands are suddenly cupping my face, thumbs wiping away tears with surprising gentleness. You don't need to understand. You just need to accept it. His dark eyes hold mine. Let me take care of this, Mia. Let me make your life easier, instead of harder. Nothing comes for free, especially not from men like you. My voice wavers. What do you really want? His expression shifts into something I can't read. What I want, he says quietly, is complicated, and not something we need to discuss today. Right now, just accept the debt is gone. Accept that you're protected. Accept that you don't have to fight alone anymore. I should refuse. Should insist on paying him back somehow. Should maintain my independence and dignity. But I'm so tired, so bone-deep exhausted from years of barely surviving. Okay, I whisper. Something flickers across his face, relief, satisfaction, something darker and more possessive. Okay, he stands, offering his hand to help me up. I take it, and the simple touch sends awareness through my entire body. This is dangerous. He's dangerous. But right now, with my debt erased and his promise of protection wrapping around me like armor, danger feels a lot like salvation. Tony will take you. Home, Dante says. Tomorrow I'm assigning security. Security? Like bodyguards? Discreet. You won't even notice them most of the time. But yes, someone will be watching to make sure Richardson or anyone else doesn't try anything stupid. Dante. That's too much, it's not negotiable. His tone brooks no argument. You're under my protection now. That comes with certain accommodations. I want to argue, want to insist I don't need armed guards following me around Chicago. But looking at his expression, absolute, immovable, I know it won't make a difference. Fine, I concede. But they stay outside my apartment. I need some privacy. A slight smile. Agreed, though there will be someone in the building. Non-negotiable. Before I can respond, his phone buzzes. He glances at it, and his expression hardens. I need to take this. Marco will escort you down. He walks me to the door, his hand settling on the small of my back. The touch feels proprietary, possessive. Mia? I look up at him. You did the right thing, coming here, accepting my help. His hand comes up, tucking a strand of hair behind my ear. I'll keep you safe. That's a promise. Then Marco appears, and I'm being escorted back to the elevator, back to Tony and the Mercedes, back to my small apartment that suddenly feels less like a prison and more like the eye of a storm. My phone buzzes as Tony pulls away from the curb. A text from an unknown number. Debt cleared. Confirmation attached. Sleep well tonight, Mia. You've earned it. I open the attachment and see my medical accounts. Every single one shows a zero balance. I cry the entire drive home. The next morning, I discover what discreet security means in Dante Caruso's world. I leave my apartment building at 8 to grab coffee from the shop 2 blocks away, my one small luxury I allow myself on Monday mornings. A man in his 30s wearing jeans and a Cubs jacket falls into step behind me at the exact distance that looks coincidental but isn't. At the coffee shop, a different man sits in the corner with a newspaper he's not reading, his eyes tracking every customer who enters. When I return to my building, a third man I've never seen before is suddenly visiting someone on my floor, carrying a toolbox and nodding politely as I pass. It should feel invasive. Should make me paranoid and claustrophobic. Instead, I feel the safest I've felt in years. Patricia calls midday with an update. The store repairs are progressing faster than expected. Some contractor Dante recommended apparently dropped everything to prioritize the job. We'll reopen in a week instead of 2. Did Mr. Caruso help arrange that? I ask, already knowing the answer. A pause. He called Mr. Chen personally. Offered to cover the repair costs and expedite everything. Patricia's voice drops. Mia, what exactly is going on between you and Dante Caruso? Nothing. He's just being helpful. Honey, men like Dante Caruso aren't helpful without reason, especially not to bookstore clerks they just met. She sighs. I'm not judging. I'm just saying be careful. That world he lives in, it's not like ours. The rules are different. I know. Do you? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're getting pulled into something that might be hard to walk away from later. After we hang up, I sit on my couch trying to process the past 36 hours. My debt is gone. My workplace is being repaired at lightning speed. I have armed guards following me to coffee shops. And the man orchestrating all of it is a Mafia boss who looked at me like I was something precious instead of disposable. My phone buzzes. Dante, dinner tonight. My place, car picks you up at 7. Not a question. Not even really a request. I type, I can't. I have plans. The response is immediate. Cancel them. That's not how invitations work. Good thing this isn't an invitation. It's a summons. 7 p.m., Mia. Don't make me. Come get you myself. I stare at the message, torn between irritation at his presumption and unwilling fascination with what "come get you myself" would actually look like. Against every instinct that says this is a terrible idea, I text back, "Fine, but this doesn't become a regular thing. We'll see. Wear something comfortable. This isn't business." I spend the next 6 hours telling myself I'm not choosing an outfit for a date with a mafia boss, that this is just dinner, just a meal with someone who helped me out of a difficult situation. But when 7 o'clock arrives and I'm wearing the one dress I own that isn't work clothes or pajamas, a simple black wrap dress my mother bought me before she got sick, I can't pretend this is just anything. Tony appears at my door at 6:55. "Miss Bennett, you look lovely." "Thank you, Tony." I grab my jacket. "Where exactly are we going?" "Mr. Caruso's residence." He escorts me to a different car tonight, still black, still expensive, but an SUV instead of the sedan. 20-minute drive. We head north into Lincoln Park, where the houses transform from apartments to actual homes with yards and gates. Tony pulls up to a 3-story brownstone that looks like something from a magazine Ivy climbing the brick, iron gate, windows glowing with warm light. "This is where Dante lives?" I ask, unable to hide my surprise. "His private residence, yes. The office is for business. This is home." Tony opens my door. "He's expecting you. Just head up the front stairs." The door opens before I can knock. Marco stands there, somehow managing to look both professional and oddly domestic in slacks and a sweater. "Miss Bennett, please, come in." He steps aside, gesturing to a hallway that's all hardwood floors and original molding and artwork that probably costs more than my apartment building. "Mr. Caruso is in the kitchen, straight back." The kitchen. I follow the sound of music, something Italian and classical, and find Dante standing at a massive range, stirring something in a copper pot. He's wearing jeans and a white t-shirt, sleeves pushed up to his elbows, and he looks so unexpectedly normal that I stop in the doorway. He glances up and smiles. "Mia, perfect timing. I'm just finishing the sauce." "You cook?" The words escape before I can stop them. My grandmother would disown me if I couldn't make proper Sunday gravy. He gestures to the kitchen island where 2 place settings wait. "I hope you're hungry. I might have made too much." The kitchen smells incredible, tomatoes and garlic and herbs I can't quite identify. There's bread warming in the oven, wine breathing on the counter, and candles casting soft light across everything. This doesn't look like a mafia boss's kitchen. It looks like home. "I don't understand," I say quietly. "Why am I here? Really?" Dante sets down his spoon and comes around the island. "Because I wanted to have dinner with you. Because I want you to see that I'm not just the man who grabbed Richardson by the collar. Because..." He stops, seeming to struggle with words. "Because when I look at you, Mia, I see something I haven't seen in a very long time." "What?" "Possibility." He's close now, close enough that I can smell his cologne mixed with tomato sauce and something uniquely him. The possibility of something real. Something that isn't about power or business or obligation. My heart hammers against my ribs. "Dante, I know this is fast. I know I'm coming on strong. I know you probably think I'm insane for paying off your debt and assigning guards and summoning you to dinner." His hand comes up, fingers barely grazing my jaw. But I can't help it. From the moment I saw Richardson touch you, something in me shifted. Something possessive and protective, and completely irrational. That's not people don't work like that. You don't just decide someone is yours after one interaction. Normal people don't. His thumb traces my lower lip. But I've never been normal, Mia. And what I feel when I look at you isn't normal either. I should step back. Should tell him this is crazy, that I don't even know him, that falling for a criminal is the worst idea in a lifetime of bad ideas. But his touch is gentle despite the calluses on his hands. His eyes hold mine with an intensity that makes me feel seen in a way I've never experienced. And the truth is, I felt it too, that shift, that impossible pull when he defended me without hesitation. "What if I can't give you what you want?" I whisper. "What if I'm not cut out for your world? Then we'll figure it out. Together." He leans in, his forehead resting against mine. "I'm not asking you to be something you're not, Mia. I'm asking you to let me be someone who makes your life better instead of harder. Someone who protects you instead of using you. Someone who sees you. You barely know me. Then let me learn. His breath ghosts across my lips. Have dinner with me. Talk to me. Let me prove I'm more than what you think I am. The timer on the oven beeps. Dante pulls back with a rueful smile. That's the bread. Perfect timing, as always. He moves back to the stove, and the moment breaks like a spell lifting. I sink onto a stool at the island, my legs suddenly unreliable. Your grandmother taught you to cook? Every Sunday from the time I was 6. He pulls garlic bread from the oven, the smell making my mouth water. She said a man who can't feed himself is at the mercy of others, and Carusos don't do mercy. Is she still alive? Your grandmother? Passed away 5 years ago. But her recipes live on. He plates pasta with practiced ease, the movements so familiar they're almost meditative. She would have liked you, I think. Why? He sets a plate in front of me, pasta, with red sauce that looks like it belongs in a restaurant, garnished with fresh basil and parmesan. Because she always said the strongest women are the ones who survive impossible things with grace. That's you, Mia. 3 years of medical debt that would have broken most people, and you just kept going. Tears prickle behind my eyes. I pick up my fork to hide the emotion. The first bite is transcendent, rich, complex, perfectly seasoned. This is incredible, I manage. Family recipe. Never written down, passed from grandmother to granddaughter to granddaughter. He pours wine, then raises his glass. To new beginnings. I hesitate, then clink my glass against his. To not quite understanding what's happening but going with it anyway. His laugh is warm and genuine. I'll take it. We eat and talk. He asks about my mother, and I find myself telling him things I haven't told anyone, how she used to read to me every night, even when she was too sick to sit up. How she made me promise not to let the debt destroy my life. How I've been failing that promise for 3 years. He tells me about growing up in Chicago, about inheriting his father's business at 25 when a heart crisis. An attack took him suddenly. About the responsibility of being responsible for hundreds of families whose livelihoods depend on his decisions. Do you ever wish you could walk away? I ask. Do something normal? Every day. He refills our wine glasses. But then I remember what happened to my cousin Antonio when he tried to leave. The rival families saw it as weakness. As an opening, he lasted 6 months before they killed him in his driveway. The casual mention of murder should horrify me. Instead, I just feel sad for the life he's trapped in. That's why you take protection so seriously, I say, understanding. Because you've seen what happens when it fails. Yes. He reaches across the island, his hand covering mine. And that's why I won't let anything happen to you. Because I've seen too many people I care about hurt by people who should have been stopped earlier. But you don't know me well enough to care about me like that. Don't I? His thumb traces circles on my wrist. I know you work yourself to exhaustion to honor debts that aren't really yours. I know you love books enough to work retail for minimum wage. I know when someone grabs you, you don't just accept it, you tell them not to touch you again, even when you're scared. That tells me everything I need to know about who you are. My phone buzzes in my purse. I ignore it. It buzzes again. And again. You should check that, Dante says, though he looks reluctant to break the moment. I pull out my phone and my blood runs cold. 7 texts from Patricia. Mia, call me immediately. Someone came by the store looking for you. He left a note. I'm calling the police. Mia, I'm serious. Call me right now. The note said, tell her this isn't over. Please tell me you're somewhere safe. Mia, please respond. I look up at Dante, and whatever he sees in my face makes his expression harden instantly. What happened? Richardson. My voice shakes. He went to the bookstore, left a note. Patricia's calling the police. Dante is already moving, phone out, speaking rapid Italian to someone on the other end. His voice is cold, controlled fury, nothing like the man who was just making me laugh over dinner. He ends the call and turns to me. Marco's taking you upstairs to the guest room. You're staying here tonight. No arguments. Dante. He's escalating, making threats. That means you don't go home to an apartment where he knows you live. His hands cut my face, forcing me to meet his eyes. You stay here, where I have security, where I can make sure you're safe. Understand? I nod because arguing seems pointless when he's looking at me like that, like I'm something precious he'll go to war to protect. Marco! He calls, and the man appears instantly. Take Mia upstairs. Second floor, east bedroom. Make sure she has everything she needs. Yes, boss. Dante's thumbs stroke my cheekbones once, gentle despite the violence promised in his eyes. I need to handle this. But you're safe here. I promise. Then he's gone, leaving me with Marco and the certain knowledge that whatever Dante's about to do to Richardson, it won't be quiet or legal or anything close to merciful. And the worst part? I don't feel guilty about it at all. The guest room is nicer than any hotel I've ever stayed in. King-sized bed with sheets that feel like silk, an ensuite bathroom with heated floors, and windows overlooking a garden lit by subtle landscape lighting. Marco shows me where everything is: towels, toiletries, a robe that probably costs more than my entire wardrobe. Mr. Caruso keeps guest rooms stocked, Marco explains, his tone professional but not unkind. There's clothes in the dresser if you need anything. Should fit well enough for tonight. Thank you. I perch on the edge of the bed, still holding my phone with Patricia's panicked messages. Marco? What's going to happen to Richardson? He studies me for a moment, clearly weighing how much to say. What needs to happen? You don't worry about it, Miss Bennett. That's not your concern. It is if it's happening because of me. It's happening because he made choices. Bad ones. Marco moves toward the door. There's a panic button by the bed. Red button on the nightstand. You press it. 6 men will be up here in 30 seconds. But you won't need it. This house is the safest place in Chicago. After he leaves, I sit alone in the expensive silence, trying to process everything. This morning, I woke up in my cramped studio, still drowning in debt, still invisible and struggling. Tonight, I'm in a Mafia boss's mansion, while he handles a man who threatened me. My life has become unrecognizable in less than 48 hours. I text Patricia back. I'm safe. With friends. Don't worry about me. Did you call the police? Her response comes immediately. Yes. They took the note as evidence. Said they'd increase patrols around the store. Mia, where are you really? You're not with friends. You don't have friends who can protect you from someone like Richardson. Smart woman. But I can't exactly text back that I'm staying at Dante Caruso's house while he orchestrates whatever retaliation he considers appropriate. I'm safe. That's all that matters. I'll call you tomorrow. I shower because I need something to do with my hands, something to occupy my mind besides imagining what Dante's doing right now. The bathroom is all marble and chrome, the water pressure perfect, the soap scented with something expensive and subtle. I find pajamas in the dresser, men's t-shirt and soft cotton pants that are too big but comfortable. They smell like expensive detergent and something else, cedar and spice, Dante's scent. I'm wearing a Mafia boss's clothes in his guest room while he commits what are probably several felonies on my behalf. This should terrify me. Should send me running for the door, calling a cab, fleeing back to my normal life of poverty and powerlessness. Instead, I climb into bed that feels like sleeping on clouds and feel safer than I have since my mother died. I wake to darkness and the sound of a door opening. My heart leaps into my throat before I recognize the silhouette. Dante? I sit up, pulling the covers to my chest. Sorry. Didn't mean to wake you. His voice is tired, rough around the edges. Just checking you were okay. What time is it? 3 a.m. He moves to the window, looking out at the garden. In the dim light from outside, I can see he's changed clothes, different jeans, a dark Henley. His hair is disheveled like he's been running his hands through it. Go back to sleep. What happened? I ask instead. Nothing you need to worry about, Dante. He turns, and even in the darkness, I can see the exhaustion in his posture. Richardson won't be bothering you again. Or anyone else. That's all you need to know. Is he dead? The question escapes before I can stop it. No. Dante's voice is flat. But he wishes he was. And by tomorrow afternoon, he'll be on a plane to somewhere very far from Chicago with a clear understanding that returning would be extremely unwise. I should be horrified. Should feel guilty that a man is being tortured and exiled because he grabbed my wrist and vandalized my workplace. But all I feel is relief. And something darker satisfaction that someone finally faced consequences for thinking he could touch me without permission. Thank you, I whisper. Dante crosses to the bed, sitting on the edge. Don't thank me for this, Mia. What I did tonight. It's who I am. It's what I do. And you need to understand that if we're going to... He stops himself. If you're going to be in my life, In your life. I repeat the words, testing them. Is that what's happening? That's what I want to happen. His hand finds mine in the darkness. But I need you to understand what that means. It means being protected, yes. Being cared for. But it also means being connected to someone who solves problems with violence. Someone who makes people disappear. Someone who operates outside the law because the law doesn't protect people like us. People like us? People who grew up learning that the system isn't designed to help us. That protection and justice cost money we don't have. That sometimes the only way to be safe is to be dangerous. His thumb traces my knuckles. You've been fighting alone for 3 years, Mia. Working yourself to death, trying to honor a debt that the medical system designed to be impossible to escape. You understand how the world really works. He's right. I hate that he's right. But 3 years of watching the debt grow despite my payments, of calling billing departments, and being told there's nothing they can do about the interest rates, of working doubles while wealthy customers complained about prices they could easily afford. It taught me that the system protects the powerful and grinds down everyone else. What are you offering me? I ask quietly. Really? Dante's other hand comes up, cupping my face in the darkness. Safety, security, a life where you don't have to fight alone anymore, where your problems become my problems, and I have the resources to actually solve them. He pauses. And if you'll let me, something more. Something real between us. We barely know each other. I know enough. His voice drops lower. I know you're strong and stubborn, and you try to carry everything alone. I know you love books because they let you escape from a world that's been cruel to you. I know you honor your obligations even when they're destroying you. And I know that when I look at you, I feel something I haven't felt in years, like maybe there's a reason to build something instead of just maintaining an empire. My breath catches. Dante, I'm not good at this, he admits. The relationship thing, the emotional vulnerability thing. I'm much better at threats and violence and making problems disappear. But with you, I want to try to be different, better. You can't change who you are because of me. I'm not changing. I'm just expanding, making room for something besides business and obligation. His forehead rests against mine. Let me take care of you, Mia. Let me make your life easier. And let me see where this thing between us goes. Every rational part of my brain screams that this is a terrible idea. That falling for a mafia boss is a one-way ticket to danger and complications I can't handle. That I should thank him for his help and walk away before I'm in too deep. But the truth is, I'm already in too deep. Have been since the moment he grabbed Richardson's collar and made it clear that I mattered. That what happened to me had consequences. Okay, I whisper. Okay? His voice holds carefully restrained hope. Okay, I'll let you take care of me. I'll see where this goes. I pull back enough to meet his eyes in the darkness. But I need you to understand something too. I'm not some helpless thing that needs saving. I've survived 3 years of hell on my own. I'm choosing this, choosing you, because I want to. Not because I'm desperate or weak. Something fierce and possessive flashes across his face. I never thought you were weak. Strong women don't threaten me, Mia. They fascinate me. Then he's kissing me, and it's nothing like I imagined. Not rough or demanding, but achingly gentle. Like I'm something precious he's afraid of breaking. His hand cups the back of my neck, fingers threading through my hair, while his other hand finds my waist through the borrowed t-shirt. I kiss him back, tasting coffee and something darker. My hands find his shoulders, feeling the solid muscle beneath the soft fabric of his Henley. He makes a sound low in his throat, pleasure and restraint warring, and deepens the kiss. When we finally break apart, both breathing hard, he rests his forehead against mine. I should let you sleep, he murmurs, but makes no move to leave. Stay. The word escapes before I can second-guess it. Just for a while. I don't want to be alone right now. He hesitates for only a moment before standing and moving to the other side of the bed. He lies down on top of the covers, fully clothed, and pulls me against his chest. Just for a while, he agrees, though we both know it's a lie. I fall asleep listening to his heartbeat, feeling safer than I have in years, wrapped in the arms of the most dangerous man in Chicago. Morning arrives with sunlight streaming through the windows and the smell of coffee. I wake alone in the massive bed, the space beside me cold but with an indentation that proves last night wasn't a dream. There's a note on the nightstand in strong, precise handwriting. Clothes in the closet should fit. Come downstairs when you're ready. We need to talk about next steps. D. I find the closet stocked with women's clothes in my size, jeans, sweaters, a few dresses, all with tags still attached. Either Dante has an excellent eye for sizing or he had someone research me. Neither option should be as comforting as it is. I choose jeans and a soft gray sweater, both fitting perfectly, and make my way downstairs following the scent of coffee and something baking. The kitchen looks different in daylight, bright and airy, windows overlooking the garden where I can see two men in suits doing what I assume is a security sweep. Marco sits at the island with a tablet, and Dante stands at the stove, flipping pancakes. It's so aggressively domestic that I stop in the doorway. "Morning," Dante says without turning around. "How do you take your coffee?" "Cream, no sugar." I move to the island, accepting the mug Marco slides toward me. "You're making pancakes." "Grandmother's recipe." "Everything's a grandmother's recipe in my family." He plates 3 perfect pancakes and sets them in front of me with butter and real maple syrup. "Eat. We have things to discuss." I take a bite to avoid responding immediately. They're incredible light and fluffy with vanilla and cinnamon. Marco excuses himself, leaving us alone. Dante pours his own coffee and leans against the counter, studying me. "Richardson left Chicago at 6 this morning," he says without preamble. "Drove himself to O'Hare and took the first flight to Phoenix. His business interests here are being liquidated, his property sold. By next week it'll be like he never existed in this city. Did you hurt him? I need to know. Need to understand what was done in my name. Yes. No hesitation. But nothing permanent. Nothing that won't heal. Just enough to make sure he understands the consequences of his choices." I nod slowly, processing. "And the vandalism at the bookstore?" He confessed. "Paid for the damages in full, plus compensation for lost business. The police report will show it as a resolved case, perpetrator identified, restitution made, no trial necessary." Dante sips his coffee. "Your manager received a check this morning. She'll call you later." Of course she will. Because Dante Caruso doesn't just solve problems, he erases them completely, leaving no loose threads. "What happens now?" I ask. "Now you decide what you want." He sets down his cup. "You can go back to your apartment, back to work when the store reopens, back to your normal life. The security will stay discreet but present. Richardson's handled. You're safe. Or you stay here." His dark eyes hold mine. "You move in with me. Let me take care of you properly. Give this thing between us a real chance, instead of trying to navigate it from a distance." My heart hammers. That's a big step. We've known each other for 3 days. I've made bigger decisions with less information. He crosses to me, his hands bracing on either side of me on the counter, caging me in. "I know what I want, Mia. I want you here, in my space, in my life. I want to wake up knowing you're safe under my roof. I want to come home to someone who sees me as more than just a criminal or an asset. What about my job, my apartment, my life? Keep your job if you want it. Patricia's already asked when you'll be back. I can see you value the work, the books, the routine. Your apartment, we'll keep the lease in case you need space or decide this isn't working." His hand comes up, tucking hair behind my ear. "Your life doesn't disappear. It just expands to include more, to include me." "This is insane," I whisper. "Normal people don't move in together after 3 days. Good thing neither of us is normal." His thumb traces my lower lip. "I'm not asking you to marry me, Mia. I'm asking you to take a chance, to see if what we both felt from the moment I grabbed Richardson's collar is real or just adrenaline and circumstance. And if it doesn't work, if I can't handle your world, then we figure it out. Together." He leans in, his breath ghosting across my lips. "But I think you're stronger than you give yourself credit for. I think you've been surviving in a world designed to break you, and you're still standing. That takes a kind of strength most people don't have. I should say no. Should insist on taking things slow, on maintaining my independence, on not jumping into something this intense with someone this dangerous. But I'm 26 years old, and I've spent 3 years barely surviving, working myself to exhaustion, eating ramen, lying awake at night doing impossible math with insufficient numbers. And now someone is offering me safety, security, and the possibility of something real. Someone who makes me feel seen instead of invisible. Someone who solved my biggest problem without asking for anything in return. Someone who looks at me like I matter. "Okay," I say quietly. His eyes flash with something fierce and possessive. okay? Okay, I'll stay. I'll try this. I'll. My words cut off as he kisses me, deep and claiming, his hands cupping my face like I'm something precious. When we break apart, both breathing hard, he rests his forehead against mine. You won't regret this, he murmurs. I'll make sure of it. The next 2 weeks pass in a blur of adjustments and revelations. Moving in is surprisingly easy. I don't have much to move. My studio apartment was always temporary, sparsely furnished with things I bought secondhand. Dante sends people to pack everything, store what I want to keep, donate the rest. My security deposit gets returned immediately. The landlord suddenly very accommodating when Marco handles the logistics. The bookstore reopens on schedule, repairs completed with extraordinary efficiency. Patricia gives me a strange look when I return to work, noting the car that drops me off, the way I'm dressed in clothes that actually fit instead of thrift store finds. So, she says during my first shift back, are we going to talk about the fact that you're clearly living with Dante Caruso now? How did you? Honey, you arrived in a car with his driver. You're wearing a coat that costs more than I make in a month. And you look, she pauses, happy, less exhausted, actually eating properly, I'd guess. I can't deny any of it. It's complicated. I'm sure it is. She squeezes my hand. Just be careful, okay? Men like him, they're not like us. The things they do, the choices they make, it's a different world. I know, and I do. I've seen enough in 2 weeks to understand what Dante is, what he does. The late-night phone calls conducted in Italian. The meetings in his office with men who bring problems that get solved with violence. The way his associates treat him with a mixture of respect and fear that borders on worship. But I've also seen the way he makes sure I eat breakfast every morning. The way he asks about my day and actually listens to my answer. The way he touches me like I'm something precious instead of disposable. The way he's slowly teaching me that protection doesn't have to come with conditions or strings. At home, and it's becoming home, despite the absurdity of living in a mansion with a mafia boss, I discover Dante in pieces. He cooks most nights, hands moving with practiced confidence as he creates meals that would cost a fortune in restaurants. His grandmother's recipes. Always. She said cooking was meditation. He explains one evening while teaching me to make proper marinara. A way to center yourself before making hard decisions. He reads before bed. Always something unexpected, philosophy, history, poetry. I never finished college, he admits one night when I ask. Got pulled into the family business at 25, but I kept learning on my own. Books became my education. He's gentle in private, fierce in public. I watch him transform from the man who holds me at night to the man who makes other criminals pale with single glances. The duality should frighten me. Instead, it fascinates me, this man who can be soft and dangerous simultaneously. 3 weeks after I move in, I come home from work to find Dante in his office with a man I don't recognize. They're speaking Italian, voices raised, and something about the tension makes my skin prickle. I start to back away, but Dante sees me and switches to English. This is Mia, he says to the stranger. Mia, this is Luca Moretti, my cousin. He has concerns about our arrangement. Luca is maybe 40, with Dante's dark coloring but colder eyes. He looks me up and down with obvious disdain. You brought a civilian into your home, into your life. That's a weakness, Dante. A vulnerability our enemies will exploit. She's under my protection. That makes her my concern, not yours. Your concern becomes family concern when it creates risk. Luca's voice hardens. The Rossi family already knows about her. They're asking questions, making noise about using her to get to you. My blood runs cold. The Rossi family, I've heard Dante mention them. Rival, organization, always pushing boundaries, always looking for advantages. Then they'll learn what happens when they threaten what's mine. Dante's voice drops to something deadly quiet. The same lesson Richardson learned. She's a liability. She's mine. The word cracks like a whip. And if you or anyone else in this family has a problem with that, they can address it with me directly. Understood? Luca's jaw tightens, but he nods. Understood. He glances at me once more, and I see calculation in his eyes. Then he's gone, leaving tension thick enough to choke on. I stand in the doorway, heart pounding. I'm putting you in danger. Just by being here, I'm making you vulnerable. Dante crosses to me in 3 strides, hands framing my face. Listen to me. You are not a liability. You are not a weakness. You are someone I choose to protect, and that choice makes me stronger, not weaker. Luca doesn't think so. Luca is paranoid and politically motivated. He wants to be in my position, and he'll use any excuse to undermine me. His thumbs stroke my cheekbones. But he's not wrong that the Rossis might try something. Which is why we're increasing security. More security? Dante, I already have people following me everywhere. More at the house. More in your detail when you're at work. And Marco will be your primary security from now on. He's the best I have. His expression is implacable. This isn't negotiable, Mia. If someone's making threats, I take them seriously. Maybe I should leave. Go back to my apartment. Create distance so you're not... No, the word is absolute. You're not leaving. You're not going anywhere. You're staying exactly where I can protect you, where I know you're safe. That's not your decision to make. Yes, it is. His eyes blaze with possessive intensity. You gave me the right to protect you when you moved in here. When you chose to be mine, that means I get to make decisions about your safety, especially when threats emerge. I should be angry, should fight against this high-handed presumption that he gets to control my life. But looking at his face, the fear underneath the authority, the genuine terror that something might happen to me, I understand this isn't about control. It's about the trauma of watching people he cared about die because he couldn't protect them. Okay, I say quietly. More security. But Dante, you need to understand something. I'm choosing to stay because I want to be here, with you. Not because I'm afraid or trapped or have no other options. Because I want this. Something in his expression cracks. Vulnerability bleeding through the armor. Even knowing what it costs. What being with me means. Even knowing all of it. I reach up, my hands covering his. You're not the only one who gets to make choices here. I choose you, Dante. The good and the bad, the safety and the danger, all of it. He kisses me like I'm air and he's drowning, desperate and claiming. His hands are in my hair, on my waist, everywhere at once. When we break apart, both breathing hard, he picks me up like I weigh nothing and carries me upstairs. I need you, he murmurs against my neck. Need to know you're here. You're real. You're mine. Then take me, I whisper back. I'm yours. We make love with an urgency born from fear and claiming. He's gentle despite the desperation, always careful, always making sure I'm with him. Afterward, wrapped in expensive sheets with his arms around me, I trace the tattoos across his shoulder blade. What does this one mean? I ask, touching the raven. Family crest. All the men in the Caruso line have it, tradition dating back to Sicily. And this? I trace the script along his ribs. La familia è tutto. Family is everything. His voice is soft in the darkness. My father had me get it after Antonio died. A reminder of what we're protecting, what we're building. Do you believe that? That family is everything? He's quiet for a moment. I believe family is what you make it. Blood relatives? Yes. But also the people you choose to protect, to care for, to build something with. He pulls me closer. You're family now, Mia. Whether you realize it or not. The word should feel heavy, obligating. Instead, it feels like coming home. The threat from the Rossi family materializes 2 days later. I'm at work. Shelving returns in the fiction section, when Marco appears at my elbow with unusual urgency. Miss Bennett, we need to go. Now. What? My shift doesn't end for now. His hand is on my elbow, already guiding me toward the back exit. There are men outside watching the store. Not ours. Dante wants you at the house immediately. My heart hammers. Are they going to? They're not going to do anything because we're leaving before they can try. Marco's voice is calm but brooks no argument. Patricia's been informed. Let's go. The drive back to the house takes 15 minutes, that feel like hours. Marco makes 3 phone calls in rapid Italian, his expression growing more tense with each conversation. When we pull through the gate, there are twice as many guards as usual positioned around the property. Dante meets me at the door, pulling me into his arms the moment I'm inside. You're okay. He breathes against my hair. You're safe. What happened? The Rosses sent men to watch the bookstore, probably planning to grab you when you left work, use you as leverage. His arms tighten. Marco got you out before they could make a move. Leverage for what? He pulls back, his face grim. There's a territory dispute in the south side. A building complex both families want control of. The Rosses think they can force me to back down by threatening you. So they're right. I am a liability. No. He cups my face, forcing me to meet his eyes. You're not a liability. You're the reason I'm going to destroy them completely instead of negotiating. The cold fury in his voice sends shivers down my spine. This is the man who makes criminals pale, who rules Chicago's underworld with calculated violence. And he's about to unleash that on an entire family because they threatened me. Dante, maybe you should just let them have the building. It's not about the building. His voice drops to something deadly quiet. It's about them thinking they can touch what's mine. That's not something I can let stand. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you loved this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.